Awesome. So here with Pedro Marinho, thanks for inviting us down here to Houston. Obviously you have a big match coming up, Who's Number One, on May 18th. But it's been a minute since we've kind of linked up with the Who's Number One champion, so I just want to know off the bat, how is Pedro Marinho doing?
Everything great, you know, man. Like, have been training a lot, keep with the intensity routine, right? Like, training, take care of everything outside of jiu-jitsu too. So, feeling pretty good going into this match.
Yeah, so of course a big match here. Who's Number One, May 18th, Nicholas Meregali. Give me your thoughts on the event and on the matchup.
Man, as you said, you know, like it's a big match for me. You know, I'm really excited with fight Meregali. You know, I know what can bring me a win over him. You know, so I'm looking forward. And you know, Thursday, May 18th, I'm gonna get a job done and gonna get my hand raised.
Awesome. Is Nicholas Meregali, is that somebody who you've had your eye on for a while? Is he somebody you wanted to test yourself against for a long time?
Yes, for sure. You know, I've been following Nicholas, you know, since I was purple belt. I saw him fighting in the black belt worlds, you know. And for me, like, in gi or no gi, I want to fight the best guys out there, you know. I believe I'm the best, so had the chance of test myself against the #1 guy in the world is a pleasure, you know. So I'm looking forward. You know, Nicholas is really tough, you know, really accomplished guy, a lot of multiple times world champ. So it's a big match for me, you know, and I'm excited. I'm really excited to go out there, you know, and put a great performance and shock the world.
What do you think about Nicholas's jiu-jitsu?
Man, he's great. You know, I was like watching some videos to try study. I even stopped it. You know, I say it's too much. He's really good, you know, in everything he do. But as every athlete, you know, we know personal, you know, respect to have between athletes. We know any athlete can be submitted, can be, you know, finished anytime.
And you know, this is another Who's Number One main event. Now, you know, this is kind of par for the course for you now. You've done a bunch of these, right?
Yeah. I was even like thinking about it, right? Like, man, it's been my first event as a main event was 5 years ago on Kazai Pro. When the Kazai Pro 5, I won the qualifier. I was just a purple belt, you know. And like 5 years later, I'm still here, you know. I'm still doing main events. You know, my second one flew already. Third already. You know, third main event already. So I'm really excited, you know, and see how my career have been growing on this percourse, you know, and I'm just 26, so much more to come yet.
And how about, so of course, Who's Number One, very known as kind of like a no-gi event. You yourself even known a little bit more as a no-gi athlete. How do you feel about having, you know, the gi on Who's Number One and you returning to the gi?
Man, for me, it's really a pleasure, you know, fighting the gi on the Who's Number One, knowing how hard it is to, you know, knowing how they have been the background, right, have been all no gi. They start with gi, but then, right, like they change it up all for no gi. So it's really nice, you know, had this opportunity to showcase the gi jiu-jitsu as well, you know. Was where everything started for me, you know, since like when I started in Brazil as a white belt, you know, blue belt, towards brown belt, my main focus was gi, you know. So it's really like, for me, like I say, fight the best guy in the world, one of the best stages in the world, you know, as a main event of the biggest, you know, Who's Number One. So I'm excited to go out there and put a show.
Okay. And you know, this is a little bit of a different kind of rule set. You know, submission only. There's no points. Do you like that style? You know, where you can just kind of throw points to the side and just go after submissions.
Yeah, I feel like I like. I'm gonna say for this format against who is like Meregali, I'm sure he's gonna come for the kill, you know, and I will do the same. So yeah, for a match like me and him, I think it's a perfect rule, you know. Of course, my best chance, you know, is get the submission on him, you know. As more time gets, it's harder, as heavy he is. So for me, I really want to go out there, you know, and put a strong performance, get a submission, you know. And as you say, yes, I feel like it's a good rule for us, you know, just like forget points and go for the kill.
And I was going to say that, you know, Nicholas obviously he's changed up his game a lot recently. Have you been paying attention to kind of, you know, what Nicholas has been doing? Obviously, he moved to Austin and has been changing things up. Do you pay attention to kind of what your opponents are doing?
Yeah, I see, you know, I kind of like sometimes you see on Instagram things, you know. I saw all the change he's made it. You know, I think it was good for him, right? He was kind of like out of the scene a little while, right? Like a couple, I think 1 year, I don't know. He has some personal problems. So, like for me as a Jiu-Jitsu fan, it's good, you know, see him good and see him competing, you know, and doing his thing. I think even a lot of people don't relate with what he does or how he carries himself, you know. I really think it's a really good thing for the sport, you know, and I'm really glad that he's good.
And then, you know, a lot of people out there talk a lot about recently, you know, gi versus no gi. Is the gi kind of over? Make the gi great again? Stuff like that.
Yeah.
Did you hear people kind of talking about the gi? And do you take it personal that you're gonna kind of bring the gi back to the main stage?
Yeah, I feel like the guys who say that is most of the guys who don't do gi, right? Craig Jones is the guy who always, you know, preach this, you know. I feel like it's the way that he can sell more no gi, kind of, right? Like, but I feel the gi is not that, right? If you think the 99% of the schools in the world is gi, right? Predominant gi. Maybe for the mainstream, it's easier to understand no gi, right? So it's easy to sell. But I think both have been growing on their own way, you know. And for sure, for me, it's a really, like, I'm really glad to be able to put gi on the main stage, you know. Like I say, one of the biggest events in the world, right? Who's #1, that have been putting a lot of great events, and now it's a chance for me and Meregali showcase the gi, you know, on the biggest stage out there.
And of course, a lot of your fans are going to be watching on FloGrappling. What can the fans expect from Pedro Marinho when he steps out there?
As you guys know, guys can expect porrada. You know, I'm gonna bring the heat. I'm gonna bring the porrada. Let's get it, team. You know it. May 18, Pedro Marinho versus Meregali, only on FloGrappling. Let's get it.
Awesome. Thanks, Pedro. Is there anything maybe you wanted to say to your Brazilian fans in Portuguese as well while we're here?
Fala, galera. Tô muito animado aí. Semana que vem, quinta-feira, Pedro Marinho contra Meregali. Espero que todos vocês aí do Brasil estejam assistindo, torcendo por mim. Vamos com tudo, representando o Brasil aí, representando o kimono. Vamos!
Awesome. Thanks so much, Pedro.